and welcome back. Today I am with Sanjay, a friend from high school, and we thought to do this video. Well, Sanjay came up with this brilliant idea, and I was like, why not? So we're here to talk about, well, first of all, if you're watching this, go watch part 1 first on Sanjay's channel where we're comparing the cost of living in Toronto and Ottawa. And I know a lot of you guys would love to have that information before you make your move to Canada. Yeah. So yeah, go watch that and then come back to watch this part. But for those who have already watched part 1, let's just jump into it. Yeah. At first, we're going to start out with weather because I've always heard that the weather in Toronto is different than the weather in Ottawa. So you tell me, do you think it's like, okay, so for example, Ottawa will somewhat get as cool as negative, what can I say? Negative, okay, so Ottawa will say negative 14, feeling like negative 27 or negative 27. And sometimes we'll feel like negative 30 a little bit, but you know, is it the same in Toronto?
I think in recent years, I haven't seen it gone as low as feel like negative 30s, but we definitely go to feel like minus 20 something, 20.
Okay.
But back then, 2017, you will go as far as minus 39, 40 as feels like.
Ooh, really?
It was cold. Oh my God. Back then it was cold. It was...
I don't think I've ever experienced that, and like I don't want to, because right now the cold, like for example, first of all, I experienced snow squall. I've never experienced that before, and I just experienced that the other day, and I was like, what the hell is this? It was very windy, very cold, and the snow is just very wet.
Yes. I think, was that Sunday? Was that Sunday?
Yeah. You guys got that too?
Yeah, so Sunday in the day, I didn't wear any jacket or anything to church. I just had on a little sweater. It was beautiful, very windy. And then I was cooking and look outside, it's almost snowing. I'm like,
yep.
How does that
But
work?
as I said, it was a beautiful day. It was a beautiful day, and it did feel normal, right? But then all of a sudden,
it went from zero.
We went downtown and we had to go back home. That was not working. Yeah. All right. So let us look into transportation. So of course, Toronto is way bigger than Ottawa.
Yeah.
We have a train system right now called the LRT. And every minute it broke down. Every minute it broke down. So they might try to fix that, but we do have buses too. So we have buses and we have the train, and they're thinking about tram, but I don't know when that's gonna happen. Okay. So that's just all we have. We don't have much like Toronto. I know that Toronto has a very established subway, right?
Yeah, so here we have the TTC in the city of Toronto. We have Toronto Transit Commission, I think it's called.
Okay.
And it's pretty fast. I mean, if you are living in the city area, GTA, you can get a bus every 5 minutes, possibly.
Wow.
Yeah, or every 10 minutes. However, if you're living up where I'm living, like up north, it's not really fully north, but going north, Vaughan, Richmond Hill, those areas, we have a slower bus system, and that's the YRT, so the York Region Transit.
Oh.
So it just all depends on where in Toronto you are, because if you are also in Pickering area, there's another transit company in Pickering, which is not as far.
Toronto is just so huge.
Exactly. Wow. So I guess it's something for people to know, like, don't think Toronto, when people say Toronto TTC, you know that, oh, I'm definitely going on the TTC. Not the case, because if you're in Pickering or if you're in Oshawa, then it's a different transit system, which might not be as fast as the TTC here. So for your system, is it as fast as 5-10 minutes?
Not really. Oh, and just quick mention, guys, go and watch my road trip vlog when I went to Toronto. Yeah. I did some stuff. I didn't do a lot, but you know, I did some stuff. Yes, but yeah, in Ottawa though, 5 to 10 minutes, it depends. So if it's peak hours like early morning, Of course, we'll have a bus come like every 10 minutes.
Okay.
Some other areas you'll have it every 5 minutes. Before we bought a car, we used to take the train, and I used to take the train to go between work, my two jobs, and it was pretty reliable, but then it got very unreliable when the train wasn't working because it's a very new system, guys. I came in 2019 and the train started working early 2020. So that's how new it is. So it's not even a subway. It's on like above ground. Yeah. So it's like, yeah. So it's very new. So I guess they're just still working it out. But yeah, it can be pretty quick. Sometimes. But then, of course, holidays and outside of peak hours, definitely. And for Ottawa, it's like one bus system, OC Transport. So OC Transport is like for the entire area because we're not that big like Toronto. Toronto is just huge.
Yeah, it's huge. And I think it's a misconception when people think, if they get this price, it's the whole place price. It's not necessarily. So you guys really need to do research into the areas that you're going and probably go to Ottawa. It seems a lot cheaper and slower, not the fast.
I've heard that Toronto is very fast. I guess we can go into diversity and culture there because Toronto's culture, I've heard someone say that for real, like they wish they stayed in Ottawa. Well, not really wish they stayed in Ottawa, but in comparison, Ottawa and Toronto, comparing both, Toronto is very fast. Like everything's just, why? Why do you think so? Like, I say, explain it really.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I guess I need to explain why it's fast. I think one of the main things, the job market, it would seem a lot because there's more people flocking here. So in terms of that, things go by quickly because by the time you realize that, I can get this for free, or this job have 20 openings, or this is happening, already passed you by. Because we have like it is diverse, don't get me wrong, but the GTA in particular, especially if you're coming as an international student, you will find that there's one specific country that outpopulates everybody else. And so if, let's say it's our country, Jamaica, and I'm Jamaican and I know you, Ati, I'm gonna say, so that's why for a lot of persons, it seems like it's moving a lot faster because there's more competition.
Okay.
So where competition is concerned. And even for the bus systems as well, you do have really packed buses in GTA area where you will stand in a bus. It's almost like halfway tree. You will stand in a bus because it's so packed. When you come on this side that I'm on, which is the YRT, you can be the only person in the bus. And it's
really?
Yeah, and it's still it is still Toronto, right? It's still Toronto area, I would say. But I think I would say that is the reason why it appears to be so fast. That's one. And then there's more cars, there are more people moving around.
Yeah, there are definitely more. It's the most populated city in Canada, no? So I mean that's a big factor, right?
Yeah, so I think that's why you are constantly chasing to make sure that you catch whatever deals are out there, and especially for immigrants, looking for jobs, trying to get opportunities, trying to get something cheap. If you go to the store, sometimes you will see it for sale, and then when you get there, it's gone. So I think that's why there is this stigma to say it's really fast, and it is true. And to be honest, I appreciated that about Toronto because I'm always on my feet and always researching to make sure that nothing is gonna miss me.
The one thing I hated about Toronto was the traffic. Like the traffic was just so annoying. Like when we were leaving, we were just in traffic.
Traffic is the worst. 401 is just the absolute worst. If you're going on like a 400, you're probably okay. But if you're on the 401, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And I don't have to ask about diversity in Toronto because I know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I follow this page on Instagram called Six Buzz, and like I hear more and more the Toronto dialect, because the Toronto dialect that's derived from Jamaican patois, because when I hear it, I'm like, what are they saying?
Yes,
but I can hear the Jamaican influence.
It is very Jamaican influence, the dialect. And when I came here, I was like, I can't explain what is happening. I couldn't really explain. I still can't really explain how them talk, but the mans them, I hear like
mod. Me hear somebody say mod.
Like,
yo, you mod, and I'm like, mod. What is mod? Like,
yep.
No.
Yes. So
but
if you want to feel like home,
go ahead. Mm-hmm.
If you want to feel like home, yeah.
No, I feel like I'm gonna fight though with that dialect. Like sometimes when we hear that, I'm like, what are you saying? But sometimes I just really have to remember, say it's just their way of talking, like Jamaicans. So all right, fight me alone.
Right. What is it like for you?
Yeah, in Ottawa, the Jamaican population here, first of all, like I don't think we're that big, but we're not small either. Because as you know, the other day, the chief who just stepped down, he was also the chief in Toronto, and he's Jamaican. So like, you know, Jamaicans were just everywhere, because the last job I was in, 2 of the men who work there, they're Jamaicans. Like, you know, one of them was born there, one of them was born in Canada. But yeah, like Jamaicans are everywhere. There is an association here as well, and they had a whole thing where they went to City Hall and they raised the Jamaican flag for whatever day that was relating to Jamaica in Ottawa. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. So the community is here, but it's to actually meet people and meet up, because I think when we see, well, first of all, when people see me here, the first thing that other Black persons, they talk in French straight off the bat, because you know that most, well, not most, but some African nations do speak French. So once they see another Black person, they do think, you know, you're probably from that same region. So they just naturally speak to you in French. So I would always have to say, no, I'm Jamaican. So I wouldn't say Jamaicans aren't a lot in Ottawa. We really aren't a lot, but we're here. The community is not just as big as in Toronto. Mm-hmm. But it's a pretty diverse city as well. You have a lot of Asians, both South Asians and, you know, Northern Asians, everybody really, because even Arabs, Indians, Chinese, Japanese, you know, Africans, Caribbean, everybody there. My son's daycare, very diverse. Everybody's there. White, Black, Indian, Chinese, everybody. Cool. So I'm happy. Yeah, I was happy to have him in that environment, because even when I wanted to change him from the daycare, I was just thinking, like me and Orlando was saying, that we don't want to change him and then put him in a different situation where we end up hit worse, being that, you know, the whole wait listing goes, like, let's not even bother, you know? Yeah. So he's about to start kindergarten, and I can only hope and pray that kindergarten is as diverse, because but it's a pretty diverse city. Ottawa is very diverse, and I don't feel out of place here.
Okay. I think that was kind of in the back of my head. And I guess that's something that's always in the back of my head about different places in Canada, in terms of how, you know, out of place would I feel or would I be in certain places. And I guess that's partially why I'm like, maybe I should just stay where I'm at.
It's funny you said that, because you know, Kelly's in Edmonton, the way how Kelly's talk about Alberta, I'm like, whoa, I would have never thought that way about Alberta, because I always had sort of a bad idea about Alberta.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, so it's like, I was like, okay, not going there. Vancouver sounds like a good idea, but it's very expensive.
Yeah,
Way more expensive than Toronto.
Yeah,
then
it is more expensive. It is.
Yeah,
Which
and
is
then No, go ahead.
ridiculous if you think about it, right? Like, how can it be more expensive?
About that same survey job I was telling you about, I spoke to someone once and she was saying that most of the houses on her road are empty because people overseas buy them. That's the issue right now we're having in Canada, you know.
I think
People overseas are buying the houses, then they flip them and sell them back for big money. So people who are here trying to, you know, save up down payment, all this stuff, we can't afford that. So
yeah, and you know, like how we talk about that, what is the average cost for house?
On the news last night, they showed that the average cost of houses is $700,000.
I think I saw here the other day, they said like $1 million. I saw, but I might be wrong. But
no,
for a decent detached, you can't get any detached in GT.
Yeah.
Less than 1.1.
Yeah, detached will go over $1 million naturally.
And then the condos now, which is, you know, a box, you're living in a box. You know them little board houses in Jamaica where, you know, it's just a box. You know? That's it for like $599,000.
At least there are some condos here in Ottawa that's like $299, $100.
What?
Based on the quality and location. Funny enough, the condos are way cheaper than, of course they should be, but like they're way cheaper than we expected. So
it's funny because the condos here are really expensive and they're really, I mean, really nice. Really,
I think it's because of city life. They're expecting a lot of people to rent them out, right?
Yeah. So pricey, like really expensive, really tiny, but really nice, but really tiny. And the detached houses, like I said, just out the park.
Yeah.
But I saw Kelly's posted like this whole nice, fancy looking detached house for $436.
Yes, Alberta have some nice house prices. And I think it's because they have the vast landscape. Like we can't talk about that because like really and truly, they really do have a lot of land. Ontario, especially where we live, we're in the city areas. So
exactly.
We hardly have space. I mean, you do have some places close to here that are building houses. And I'm like, okay, at least we can look in that direction. But they're like so far out, you know? So I think that's the issue. The location and the lack of land space. That's a big issue.
And then another thing here, the further out you go, is like you don't know about the job market the further out, right? So you just have to be.
So basically, you just have to really, and like, well, I guess that's a whole different level. Like, you know, I say, if you're going far out the city, you have to just basically work for yourself. You can't go too far. Yeah, because if you go too far, it's just going to turn into more bus fare,
more everything. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Especially with gas prices at 1.9.
So nice.
That's a different story, guys.
Stress me out. I'm about to renew that bus pass, $100, because $100 a month is way better than $100 a week.
Wait, hold on. So Ati's sharing some big information and just dropping it on us like it's only $100.
I think it's only $100. It's probably gone up by a little bit now, to like 110 or so. But yeah, the bus pass for the month that gives you access to the train and the bus is 100 and a little bit, I guess, because it must gone up. Mm-hmm. How much?
156.
Okay. I can see. Does that work between TTC and your YRT? Oh, so you have to have a different one.
So if you're going, let's say you're in Toronto, in the city area, and you'd like to go to Vaughan or Richmond Hill area, if you're doing a transfer, you have to pay for the other bus. And if you're going from Toronto onto like the Go bus, which goes into Brampton and those other places, you will have to pay an extra for transfer as well. And if you're going on the Brampton transit, which I think is the Zoom, I think there is, or any of those other transit, you will have to pay once you transition from the TTC. So it's not the general fee. The general fee is when you're on the TTC. That's why a lot of people live in the city as well. So that's also the other problem. When you go on the TTC, you can go anywhere unlimited anytime if you're going on the TTC alone. But then if you're going...
If you live outside, and then most people live outside of the city and work in the city though, right? So that's another thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, this was a good chat though, because I've learned a lot. Like, this is awesome. I mean, I've always loved the city of Toronto in terms of just to visit. Like, I love big cities, but only to visit. I'll live elsewhere. Yeah. But yeah, it was great to hear, because this now confirms that I will not move to Toronto.
Don't move to Toronto, but you know, there are other places that we can look into to go to. But like you said, it's good to visit the cities. For me, I'm a country girl. I born and raised in the country, so I'm okay not being in the city. But yeah.
To be honest, I was kind of, when I just came to Ottawa, I was like, no, babe, we need to move to downtown. Like, I can't do this. Because when I was in France, I did live in the city, like, I said, yes, I could just walk out of my apartment, walk all over the place, and it was good. I know I come yesterday, I realized that we're not downtown. We're kind of like in the suburbs. Like, this is us. And then after a while, I say, no, we're staying here. Like, we're not going downtown, because like obviously the city is awesome, but like the older you get and the more you appreciate certain things, right? So
exactly. I'm bothered with the noise, the this, the that, too much. But as you said, like today I realized like I'm getting old.
But thank you so much, Sanjay, for inviting me to talk about this topic, because as I said, I'm sure I learned some things. I'm sure persons who are watching the video learned a lot too. Yeah. And remember, guys, to check out part 1 over on Sanjay's channel. We talk about the cost of living. We compare both Ottawa and Toronto. So it's definitely good to give that a watch. Yeah. Anything you want to say, Sanjay?
No, but thanks, guys, for watching both of these videos. I know you're going to watch it. And remember to subscribe to our channels.
Yes. All right. Take care.